It's time for Christmas again. It's time for good times and friends. It's time for mistletoe and everyone we know. All right. Let's see if we're live. Sounds live to me. Hello, everybody. Merry Christmas. Hello, composers. Thank you for being here on the show today. Excuse me. I'm so excited about this Christmas show that got a little choked up there. I'll have a little cup of tea. Cinnamon tea is good on a Christmas special. This may or may not be the last Christmas special. We may have one next Wednesday. It's just going to depend on my work schedule and things like that. But glad everybody is here. You know, we're going to talk about a lot of things today. Holiday music. Am I right? If you are anyone who follows any of my channels, you know that last year I said this, and it bears repeating. Holiday music is important, and you hear it everywhere. You heard it everywhere last year. And guess what? You will hear it everywhere next year. That's, as we say, that's the beauty of it. So yeah, Santa Claus. We need to talk about the spelling of Santa Claus, people. We'll be talking about that in a little while. But you need to be composing holiday music and arranging holiday music and new Christmas music. I think it's really, really important. And I'll talk about the reasons why here in a little bit, but not just even Christmas music, but all holiday music. I just don't think we realize as composers the opportunity that presents us to write and arrange new music in our own way. We're going to be reviewing some Christmas songs today. We're going to be doing a lot of things today. And as a matter of fact, we should probably go ahead and get into what we're going to talk about today. Again, we're going to talk about, come on, show it for me. There it is. Why music is important again, and why it's time for Christmas again. I'll show you a little bit more of that song later. But now let's get to the news. I need to get to some news because I need to tell you guys that the Hello Composers Mastermind is just about full. I am still offering the special, but for the rest of this week and the weekend only. And the special is $249 instead of $299 for the 12 weeks. And remember, it's a 12-week course. By the way, there's brand new information on the new HelloComposers.com. And I've got room for 2 more students. But if you want to find out more about the mastermind and see the new website, HelloComposers.com is up. And I think it looks pretty nice. Make sure you go check that out. You'll find all the information of what I kind of envision Hello Composers to be. And basically, you know, what I find that the whole Hello Composer site is about. I mean, this channel, what is it for? Why is there another channel instead of Make Music Income? I love Make Music Income, and it continues to grow. Just had a video go out yesterday about sync. You should really check into that and how my composing led to some sync success. And so check that out on the channel. But this channel is different than Make Music Income. And the mastermind for Hello Composers, which is just about full, by the way, is also different than the mastermind for Make Music Income. In the Hello Composers mastermind, we're going to really be focusing on your catalog. I think the biggest problem that composers have is the fact that their catalog is a little low. And as one of the problems they have with getting into libraries, getting into Motion Array, getting any kind of traction on libraries or just success in general comes from not having enough high quality music in your portfolio. So one of the things that we're going to work on specifically in Hello Composers is to help you really take your composing portfolio to the next level. I think that's really, really important to do. And that's one of the big parts of it is the catalog. Because I just think everybody is always trying to get into things. Let's make this a little different. There we go. Everybody is trying to get into libraries, but I think libraries respect catalog. I know that when people come to me and they say, I want to have music success. And I'm like, well, how many songs do you have? And they're like 5 or 10. There's nothing wrong with that being in that place, but you've got to have more. And that's what we're going to really work with in the Hello Composers Mastermind. Also, your focus, your compositional focus, I know what mine are. And they change from time to time, but for the most part, they are the same every single week. I know the genres I'm focusing on. Every once in a while, I'll stretch out, but I know my genres. I know my jazz brands. I know my piano brand. I know my orchestral brands and my pop brands and all those things. I know what I'm doing with those. Do you? Do you have a focus for your compositions? And that's one thing that we will be talking about in the mastermind every week for 12 weeks with a very small group, only going to be about 6 or so people in this group that I'm going to be talking to face-to-face on Zoom. So would love to have you part of that. Also, and then probably the biggest thing, which is what I do here on this channel every Wednesday, is the feedback that I'm going to be able to give you live every single week. So you can be working on things, reporting back to us what you worked on, and then we can talk about those things. So that is super important as far as I'm concerned, is the feedback. That's why we won't be meeting for just an hour. It might go 2 hours. It might go longer whenever we have on the days that we have the Hello Composers Mastermind, because we will need to listen to people's work and give thoughts back, good creative, constructive criticism back to people. So the catalog and the compositional focus and the feedback, those are the main things that we're going to concentrate on in the Hello Composers Mastermind. It's a little different than some of the things we're going to work on in the Make Music Mastermind, Make Music Income, because we're going to be focusing on making music income. How can you up your income? It's what I'm after every year, as on that side of things, on the business side of things. So we'll talk about that. But absolutely, take a look at the HelloComposers.com Mastermind. Again, the price is going to change after this weekend. So if you have been on the fence about this, please go to the site and email us, and let's start talking by email about how we can get you into those payment plans. Are available, and so are also tax-deductible ways are available. So get in touch with me through hellocomposers.com/mastermind. And if you are interested in the Make Music Income Mastermind, also check that one out at this link here that you can see right there. So thanks everybody for being here. A few more things here before we really get to the rest of the news. A few people have asked me, how can you buy me a cup of coffee? I don't drink coffee because coffee tastes like dirt. Although, to be honest, tea probably tastes like dirt as well, but not when you have lots of cinnamon, these little cinnamon bags. Hot cinnamon spice, people. Harney and Sons tea. There's a little ad. I'm not sponsored by them, but I really should be. For as much tea as I drink on these videos that is seen by thousands of people, I should get more from my tea drinking. But if you'd like to buy me a cup of tea, you can go to now either makemusicincome.com/tea or hellocomposers.com/tea, and you can buy me a cup of tea completely tax deductible. As a matter of fact, anything you'd like to give would be appreciative. I have a nonprofit called Creative Heart that I do a lot of my work out of, and a lot of people work with me through that. They support this organization, which is all about positive music and teaching brands like this and all that kind of stuff. So if you'd like to give, you can do that. So thanks so much. Make sure you hang out. The Sync ebook is coming, and I talked about that the other day, but the most important thing is to make sure that you are part of our email list. And if you're interested in being part of this show, like we're going to listen to songs here in a minute, make sure that you're sending MP3s to gmail.com. Okay, before we get into birthdays, let me see who is in the house here. I know Arco is here. Arco, glad you're here. ISO is in the house. Good to see you, ISO. Signature Music in the house. In is here. That's all right, In. We're just chatting, you know. We're not going to chat too long because I like to keep this show moving right along. Daydreams says, hi, friends. Next time, also with a white beard, please. Okay, let's not go crazy here, folks. I'm not going into full costume. This is pretty much what I wear during the holidays when we go around shopping and stuff. I'll wear my signature ball cap, and then I'll wear my Santa hat. But I don't usually wear the headphones. not out and about, because that'd be a little weird. Let's see who else is here. Shane, good day to you, sir. Glad you're here. Crazy in-laws, aren't they? Just is set to go. Daydream says nothing better than a cup of coffee. Ugh, not for me. Mix Club Rhett says, yeah, hey, Eric is a loony. Well, that's absolutely true. All right, so we have some very important birthdays. Do you know that this week? 3 major composers that should be important to us. First of all, Hector Berlioz, his birthday was on December 11th, which is, by the way, the same as my mother's birthday. My dearly departed mother, great pianist and organist. Love you, Mom. So Hector Berlioz, his one of his famous pieces was Symphonie Fantastique. If you haven't heard it, you should give it a listen. Be ready, because it's crazy. Another huge composer for us is December 16th birthday, Ludwig van Beethoven. You may have heard of him before. He's a little decked out. Look at him. He's got his little Mickey ears hat on. He's not happy about it, as you might guess. He's not crazy about it. Little B has a friend, a little Santa Claus friend over here. So, Beethoven, 722 works. Look at that. Symphonies, concertos, string quartets, piano sonatas, and 1 opera. That is a very interesting story if you ever want to read about Beethoven and his opera. He might have done 2, but I think it's mainly 1. But I did a little study on that. So, and then we have one more famous composer for us that everybody knows, of course. Arco S. Happy birthday on December 12th, which was 2 days ago. I think that's right. If I got the date wrong, let me know, Arco, because Arco is here in the house, and I wanted just to wish him a happy birthday. I just thought it was funny that Berlioz and Beethoven and Arco are the 3 birthdays this month. Very awesome. Yeah, Beethoven. Who is that? Shh, don't tell him. Don't tell him over there, because he might get upset about it. So, all right. Happy birthday afterwards, Arco. Mixed Club says, Arco, we have the same birthday. So, Rhett, it was your birthday this week as well. Awesome. So, a lot of people. Keith Richards. I don't count Keith Richards as one of the great composers of our time, or of any time. Maybe a great guitar player, but I would not. We usually celebrate composer birthdays on here. So, Rhett says, I'm 27. Yeah, I thought that when I met you. I thought, man, that guy looks 27 years old. All right, so let's move on here. I've got more stuff to cover because I want to get into today's topic for just a minute before we get to the reviews. And that is, it's time for holiday music again. And I say again because I talked about this last year, but it will always be time for holiday music. And if you are struggling at all with trying to figure out what you're going to do with your music, with your compositional catalog, holiday music is a great place to get started. Not just original holiday music, but also your own arrangements. Remember, folks, one of the things that people don't talk about that much is that arrangements and compositions kind of go together. Composers are as celebrated for their arrangements as they are their compositions. I think of all my arrangements as as just my own unique take on that, and therefore kind of a composition in itself. And I'm going back onto my catalog and listing all the arrangements that I've done, which are plenty, multitude, which are legion. There are so many arrangements I've done in my career for clients and for in my producing and everything that, man, that's going to easily take me into the 1,000 to 2,000 range once I put all the arrangements in that I've done through the years. So I usually keep songs that I wrote when I was a teenager, or I wrote in my 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. But it's the main list is up to about 800 something right now, of mostly songs. But I'm starting to put arrangements in. That's going to take me way over 1,000 for sure. Now, these aren't 1,000 songs that are recorded, because some of the songs I wrote in the 70s, I'm not going to, or 80s, I'm not going to put out. But I am going to try to get back through all of them. You know, I think that's one of the great hard parts for us as composers, is to get to a place where we are getting all the songs that we've ever written and getting them out in front of people. That is just, or at least where people can hear them. What I call our legacy as composers. We need to be getting our music out there. And I think that's one of those things that I struggle with. I want to get as much out as I can. Maybe you don't have that same struggle. If you do, put it in the comments, but I certainly do. Now, I know right now might seem like a silly time to be putting out holiday music. I mean, it's literally almost Christmas. But I think, and most people who work on Christmas music work on it in June, and they get it done so it's ready to release in October or November or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's absolutely great ideas and great thoughts. But I love to work on holiday music at this time of year. I'm in the mood, and here's the way I think of it. It's going to be Christmas again next year too, and the year after that, and the year after that. So all the Christmas songs that I've made for last year are now here again, ready to be used, like the one I just played for you, and I'll play for you the full recording here in a little while. But it's time for Christmas, and it makes me want to write Christmas. So while I don't argue that you should be producing your Christmas tunes in June and July, and you should be pitching them then, because they're not necessarily looking for Christmas songs now, although I think in the stock world, people are looking for Christmas stuff right now because they've got Christmas services coming up. They've got different things going on. So I still don't think it's too late, except for maybe someplace like Motion Array or Crucial, where it takes weeks to get your music in there. I think it's a great time to write Christmas music, right? You know what I say about this, right? What you're in the mood for, right? What makes you feel good, as well as what you need to write to have success. I think you can do both. So let's talk about Christmas music. And here's the beautiful thing about Christmas music. I think you can do any genre. You can do pop Christmas music, jazz Christmas music, classical, reggae, rock, country, folk, bluegrass, whatever. Especially when you get into the more unique genres that are not just pop or rock or hip hop, and you get into more unique ways to do a song. I love to find a new way to do a song that no one's done before. I actually have an album coming out in just probably in the next few days, in the next week at least. I don't know how many songs it's going to be, because I don't know how many I'll finish, but I just finished another this weekend. It's called An Uncommon Christmas. And basically what it is a album of songs that are not as well known to some people, maybe songs that are a little older and not as known. It's not Jingle Bells and stuff like that. And here's the other fun thing you could do with Christmas songs. You can take them. There's a lot of major and minor Christmas songs. And some of the major songs, it's fun to switch up and put in minor. I've done that for what I call my Hallowmas album, which is Halloween type Christmas sounding stuff. Some of them are actually Christmas songs that sound Halloweeny. I've switched them into the minor key, and now I had a Jingle Bells song make me a lot of money over the course of this year on Content ID, because I did it in a minor key and did this kind of goofy jingle. I call it Jingle Skells because it was March of the Skeletons, but it made me some money. And I just got the song that I did now last year, signed earlier this year to Crucial Music. And but going back to the major minor thing, I've really enjoyed taking some minor Christmas songs, which are happy. The words are happy. They're not sad, but for some reason they're in a minor key. So I've enjoyed taking those Christmas songs and taking them from a minor key to a major key and turning them into things. So instead of I'm doing so I'm just taking the song and reimagining it if it was a major song. And it's so much fun. I'm having so much fun with it right now. We'll have to see what I get out before Christmas. But here's my thinking. It doesn't matter what I get out because I can continue to add through it this year, next year. I have a client, we've been working on Christmas songs all year. And we've got probably the entire album recorded, but he only has vocals down to 2 or 3 because he has to go to Nashville to do his vocals, and he's retired, and so necessarily it's not easy for him to get the album done in quick. So, but our thinking is Christmas will come again next year. We'll have the entire year to do the vocals and to mix it up and get it ready for next Christmas, when instead of just releasing a few singles like we've done this year and last year, we can actually release the entire album next year with some singles before that. So that's just a thought of how Christmas music is a way you can do Christmas music right now and do Christmas music all through the year. And I don't really think it matters when you do it, unless you're on deadline for something and someone says all Christmas music must be delivered by June or it won't be available for television during the Christmas season this year, then you have a deadline in the summer. But for you, the composer, feel free to play this Christmas season. Feel free to look at songs and listen to songs and imagine them in other ways, in other genres, in other keys. I think it's fun to do. All right, the second thing I want to talk about in holiday music, and we just talked about Christmas, I want to talk about patriotic music. Now, this is for America in general, for the U.S. I think patriotic music is something that we don't pay enough attention to, and I've made plenty of nice dollars in cash from stock libraries because of the sometimes very simple piano arrangements I've done that are American anthems and things like that, holiday songs that for Memorial Day. The beautiful thing about doing American songs, My Country 'Tis of Thee also works as God Save the Queen. So that's pretty cool to have the ability to do that song, and I use it and it works for both. But other things like America the Beautiful and the national anthem, and there's lots of things. Yankee Doodle Dandy. There's a lot of patriotic songs you could do. And here's what the good part is. There's 4 holidays that people look for music every year that are patriotic. You have Memorial Day, you have the 4th of July, you have Veterans Day, and then you also have Flag Day, which surprisingly people will say, are we going to listen to some music today for Flag Day, for some patriotic music? So there's a lot of times when patriotic music really is helpful and comes out. Now, if you're in another country and you want to do patriotic music or anthemic music, well, you're not stopped from doing this either. I mean, you may only have one national anthem or a few songs, but if you know your country, what kind of holidays you have in your country that are different than the U.S. You know that there are folk songs. In some ways, a lot of the U.S. Patriotic songs are folk songs or Broadway songs or things like that. You can look into that in your country, in your culture. What are the songs that everybody knows in your country that might be used, especially if you're in a larger country where people are going to be looking for that? You could corner the market on that for your country, or if you're a composer anywhere in the world, including the U.S., and you want to write famous songs of South America or famous English Christmas songs that aren't famous or known as well in the United States. France, Germany, all of these countries likely have their own anthems, Christmas songs, folk songs, all that kind of stuff. So all of those I count as in this holiday music style. We're going to listen to some stuff here in a minute, but remember when you're composing holiday sounding music. As a matter of fact, last night, one of my students was composing a MIDI piece, and it just had the right thing. I said, let me show you something about this song, and it had these little bells in it. And then so I just went in and added a MIDI track, and I played sleigh bells, ching, 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 and suddenly it sounded just like a Christmas song, which was pretty funny. But almost any kind of happy up-tempo song will work. Any style will work. But remember what holiday you're writing it for, and obviously for Christmas you're gonna want to put sleigh bells in, maybe a horse or some kind of clip clop type of sound. There's lots of bells, obviously, tubular bells, but also chimes and glockenspiel and things like that. That is how you create Christmas sounding, holiday sounding music for any time, anything you're making. I had one library tell me this song is great, we'll accept it. Could you also give us a one with jingle bells in it so that we could use it as a Christmas version? So the sounds of the holidays are a lot of times in your sounds, and almost every library has free sounds. As a matter of fact, the sonokinetic.com site that's out having their 12 Days of Christmas has a free Jingle Bells package that you can download. Logic has pretty good Jingle Bells. So remember the holiday. Remember that the sounds that you have can make stuff sound like that. We're going to listen to some Christmas songs in a minute, and we'll hear some of what I'm talking about. And then again, I just want to remind you composers about the power of arrangements. I think that we forget about arranging as composition. And you may not agree with me here, and you may not think that arrangement is composition, but I do. I think arrangement is as worthy a task for a composer as composing itself. And I end up composing new melodies for arrangements anyway, or composing new intros and outros, or sometimes bridges or middle sections that are kind of an original part that then goes back to the arranged melody. So there are hundreds and hundreds of public domain songs that you don't have to worry about copyright with. Or if you do want to do some things that are copyrighted, remember that libraries like Crucial like to get cover songs. And so you can do, now we have a way and a reason to do some cover Christmas songs without having to pay licenses, because we're going to put it to Crucial, who is going to do the licensing part for us. And if they accept it, I've had a couple of covers accepted recently, not Christmas ones, but be original, be artistic, please do the arrangement in a unique way, different than you've heard it done before. Do not do it like the original. Like I said, switch major key to minor key. Take something that's in a major key, and it's such a fun experiment to switch back and forth between the relative major and minor. And you take something that was in C and take it and then put it in A minor, like. It's just fun to do that. It's a nice exercise, and it stretches your relative key knowledge, and it's a lot of fun to do. Minor to major is also fun, and I did that with O Come, O Come Emmanuel. To this year I went. Can't remember exactly how I did it. It's out now on Pond 5, and I just released it on Spotify last week, so it's out there now. But it's actually done to Canon in D, so you can hear it on Spotify if you want to hear it. But just make sure you do something completely different. Be unique. I think that's the key to being a great arranger as a composer, is to use your composer hat while you're arranging. Do something original. And like I said, I count these as compositions, and I think it's important that we have these compositions and these arrangements. They just add to our portfolio, and it makes us unique and different when people are looking at us as composers. So I really think it's important, because I think it's important. Now, not everybody agrees with this, but I think it's important that we have a diverse portfolio, that we have different things, not just, whatever your style is, but I just think it's important to have a diverse portfolio, or at least have a diverse type of style that you do different songs in. So if you do holiday music, whether it's Christmas songs or other holiday music, you're using your style, your unique style, or jump into another style, try different styles. We encourage that a lot on this channel. So here's the bottom line. Christmas music is basically the gift that keeps on giving. It is the thing that every year these songs are needed. Every single year, it's going to roll around again, whether it's 4th of July, whether it's some independence or holiday in your country, whether it's Christmas time, whether it's Thanksgiving in your country. I know Canada has one, we have one. If it's some other holiday that we don't have here in the States that you have in your country, that's going to come around every single year. They happen every year, by the way, folks. Not sure if you knew that. Sometimes these holidays, like for us, the patriotic songs, are needed many times a year. So every year people are going to need holiday music. So most of all, do it and have fun. Have fun taking these songs, writing new original Christmas songs, and just enjoy the holidays as a composer and as an arranger. Be creative. Think of new ways to create these songs in ways you've never heard them. One of the coolest things for me is to hear a new version of a Christmas song in a way I've never heard it. I just heard one last night. That was very cool. So enjoy the holidays, and I hope this has been helpful to you to kind of see the possibilities as expanding your portfolio with holiday music, not just Christmas music, boing, boing, but also holiday music of any kind for your country. All right. Well, let me go and check the chat. It is going crazy here. Sorry, everybody. I like to talk about these things. I'll probably edit that up at some point. But so yeah, everybody's wishing Arco a happy birthday. And Michael is in the house. Good morning, composers. Hello, composers. Let's see here. What else we got? Daydream says, I love the old Christmas records from Nat King Cole and Perry Como. Is it possible to recreate that special old sound, or does it depend on the old recording equipment? That's a very good question, because the song I'm going to play today of mine has a very old sound to it. Now, personally, I may have mentioned this before, as a composer and producer, I have a very hard time making old, crappy sounding music. In other words, I was part of the 70s and 80s and 90s when we were getting piece by piece the ability to move away from cassette and tape noise and all that kind of stuff. And as we know, with lo-fi and things like that, tape noise and saturation and wow and flutter and all that stuff is stuff people add to music. We worked for decades to get that out of music. And so for me personally, I love more pure kind of music. So that is not something I'm going to add in. But I know what you're saying, and I've tried to make, there are plugins like Vinyl from, I can't think of the company right now. They make, I cannot think of their name at all, but you know what I'm talking about. There are different things. I think Cassette Sketcher or something like that Stevie uses a lot. There are programs that do that. I'm just not sure it pays to have a crappy version of an old song versus a new, good sounding version of an old song. But that's a good thought. Arco says, after my music bachelor's, I will audition for a music production bachelor's after my computer applications degree. Congratulations. Go for it, man. Sounds like a fairy tale sounding song. Let's see. Mozart, sorry, not Mozart. Isotope, thank you. Yes, Isotope Vinyl. I think it's free, or I got it very cheap. But a good way to add some hiss and stuff to and make your record sound a little older. Arco says Beethoven looks like evil Mickey Mouse. He is pretty evil all the time. Yes, that would certainly true. Daydream says, oh, that would be an interesting topic, Eric. Cover songs. What is allowed? What is not? Copyright. And that's what I need to do if I need to do my own version of the Christmas song. Yeah, the Christmas song is definitely not public domain. You can see this pretty easy. CD Baby, a lot of companies have what is public domain and what is not. Basically, and not always, but basically anything before 1922 or around 1922, 23 is, before that is public domain. Anything after is not. Now, sometimes the estates hold on to the copyright, so sometimes that's not the case. ISO says, yes, vinyl is free. So that is Vinyl by Isotope, and you can just get it at their site. And you can also get some other great things from them for free on there. So composers, if you need software, I think I've already done a software show this year. And if I haven't, you can look at the Make Music Income software show from last year, all the free stuff that we've talked about. All right, well, it's that time of the show, folks. It's that time that we get into the music. And the first thing that we're going to listen to today is Marley Music. And Marley Music has sent us a song called Jingle Bells. Now, we're going to have a talk about this title, or maybe this is just a version of Jingle Bells, but still, we might have to have a talk about this title and just kind of see what this sounds like. So I need to get rid of this one, boink. And let's just go up to Marley Music and take a listen. And I think we're ready. Are you guys ready? Let's see if we're hearing it just fine. Man, nice. Boy, Marley, you always bring it with the horns, man. Let me just read some notes about what he said here. I thought it would combine elements of jazz, hip-hop, and soul to see what the mashup sounds like. I like the way it turned out. I pulled out the old school DAW, pencil and paper, and sort of sketched out a plan, rhythm, and sections and such. Nothing fully arranged out, but I like to use pencil and paper, especially when I'm arranging, to kind of map out what I want to do. I think that's a great idea. And this is one thing I tell my students to do. They don't do it, and they should. He said, I use sample modeling brass, of course, and audio modeling saxophones again. Sorry, I can't help it. They're like little people living inside my computer, and they love to play for me. So great job. I really like it. I think, yeah, I hear the hip hop. I don't think the hip hop is coming through as much as the jazz big band sound. The arrangement's great. Love it. Most of your horns sound super great. The trombone solo, man, I've got to look into those samples because I need a great trombone sample. I like to write for trombone, and I play trombone, and so I'd love to have a good trombone solo sample. I bought one from 8 DO recently, and it was less than impressive. Although it will work fine in the mix with the trombone sections from some other orchestra or a couple of combined. But it wasn't what I was hoping for in a solo trombone. So it looks like I may have to also go and look at these sample modeling brass. Some of the brass seem to have a little too much fall on it, like bow, 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 bow. So it's like every note doesn't fall when a brass instrument is playing it. But when you do the falls, they sound great. And all your little horn stabs and all that kind of stuff, I don't know if anybody could differentiate some of those stabs and some of that brass work as anything but real. And so I think where it gets unreal is some of the drumming, some of the drum sounds. I'm not sure the drums and the brass sound like they were in the same room to me. Again, these are production things. I don't have anything to say about the arrangement. It's killer. It's great. If you were a person who could score all this out and you could sell these arrangements for, $50 or so on someplace like Arrange Me. And there are bands looking for these kind of arrangements. Now, I know that's time consuming and takes time, but you only got to do it once, and then you can sell it for years. So these kind of arrangements are things that bands, jazz bands throughout the country, at schools, different places like that are looking for. They're looking for this kind of arrangement. So something I would consider if I were you, because you're making some great arrangements here. Let's see what other people are saying here in the chat. And in the chat, we are hearing from, if my comments would come up. I'll have to look over here. Rhett says, great stuff. Arco says, Marley is always killing it. Above my brain powers, Rhett says. Lovely bass line, says Crazy In-Laws. In says, great arrangement. Gonna listen to In's music here in a minute. Do we have a song from you, In? Sorry, I thought I had a song from you. No, not today. Sorry. The drums. Yeah, I wasn't as big a fan of the drums. I think that started to sound a little not real when we got there. It's like, I think you need to make a decision whether you're going to be jazz band or I think it's too much with all those horns to also make this a hip hop arrangement. Not that you can't, but just like with orchestral songs where you have a full orchestra involved in a pop song, the orchestra takes so much of the space that it's really, really hard to get a great mix. And same thing with these horns. They're the star of the show, and it's so hard to hear or listen to the stuff. And Red agrees that Bone is a killer. Yeah, for the solo, I could not tell probably that it was if you didn't tell me, and most non-music people would never know, that's not real. Walt is in the house. Good to see you, Walt. Hope you're feeling better. A really rousing version. It really gets the old jingle bells going. Well, that's good. Marley says, thanks. Daniel's in the house. Good to have you here, Daniel. He says, great stuff. So, yeah, really excited about this arrangement, and great job, as usual, with the horns. Gonna have to check out the modeling brass for sure, because I think brass and woodwinds are my next thing to kind of bring up. Arco says the roll at the end is what I'm a big fan of. Cool. All right, well, let's move on with our next song for the day. Great job, Marley Music. We're going to move on to Bert Gorecht and his birthday. His birthday. Too many birthdays already. Shut up, Beethoven. He's like, it's my birthday. It's not your birthday. It was his birthday. It will be his birthday, but it's not his birthday yet. But Bert's song is called Merry Christmas, Baby. Let me just say before, I've got the notes here, what he was going for. He said, this started out as Happy Birthday, Baby, which we played at every Crazy In-Laws gig. Oh, that's Bert. The Crazy In-Laws is Bert. My wife, Petra, suggested it would be a nice Christmas song if I changed the lyrics a bit. So took the original arrangement from one of our live performances and programmed the drum structure. Then Petra added her rhythm guitar. After that, I put on my bass. Then I did some scratch vocals. I laid down some organ chords, cool ones, added some guitar licks. When I felt comfortable with the backing, I redid the vocals and added background vocals. During mixdown, Petra had some suggestions. We improved the song. The count is from an old electronic metronome. Cool. I did a Darth Vader voice at the end. We will do a slideshow, put it on YouTube. Cool. Well, this should be interesting. Let's share this here with everybody and take a listen to this song, Merry Christmas, Baby. Here we go.
Claus is coming to town just because he knows you'll be around. 3 days straight we'll be high as a kite. Yeah, we got to boogie woogie, we got to party tonight. Merry Christmas, baby, we gonna party tonight. Christmas, baby, we gonna boogie all night. Whiskey in the jar under the Christmas tree. Whatever will happen then, baby, you see. Rock me, baby, roll me under the tree. Yeah, I got to boogie woogie, I wanna be free. Yeah. Merry Christmas, baby, we gonna party tonight. Merry Christmas, baby, we gonna boogie all night. His rock and roll shoes, no more blues. I got to boogie woogie, so let me tell you the news. Hey, Merry Christmas, baby, we gonna party tonight. Merry Christmas, baby, we gonna boogie all night. Santa Claus is coming to town just because he knows that you'll be around. 3 days straight we'll be high as a kite. Yeah, we got to boogie woogie, we got to party tonight. Whoa. Merry Christmas, baby, we gonna party tonight. Merry Christmas, baby, we gonna boogie all night. Merry Christmas, baby, we gonna party tonight. Merry Christmas, baby, 'cause I feel alright. Merry Christmas, baby.
Okay, that was aggressive, Bert. The in-laws are going to be very crazy with that one. Yeah, cool song, cool. I love the kind of Joe Cocker kind of voice there. I probably would prefer less of the doubling.
We got them, no more blues.
I probably prefer the doubling only in the chorus of the vocal. It gets a little, it feels like there's not a lot. There's a couple of reasons this song feels a little monotonous is not the right word, but certainly it seems like it doesn't let up the entire time. There's no dynamic changes in a couple ways. Number one, there's we don't really ever come down. It's just like at the same fever pitch the entire time with the vocals and everything. The vocals are just straight up to the wall every time. And by the way, I don't say this to everybody, but we should be aware that all songs need to be family friendly. Not that this one isn't. This is very fine. But I got to make sure that I put that in the notes for people, because I don't listen to these songs before I put them on air, so I'll be fresh when I listen. But But it's certainly fine. But Bert, what I think about this song is that there needs to be a time this thing comes down. Plus, this thing is limited to the max, and I think it could use a little more dynamic range. It's got none right now, and I feel like that becomes a little hard to listen to throughout the thing. I do appreciate a song almost, or as far as I know, completely recorded with live sounds and stuff like that. That's something we don't hear all the time. Stevie B just did a challenge where people had to do only with acoustic instruments. You could not use any plugins, and it was very, very tough, and a small turnout of songs, just because it's a tough challenge. Not everybody is old school or remembers the old school or how to even record old school, because all they know is the DAWs that they have and the instruments that come with their DAWs and the great modeling brass and strings and all that. So kudos for doing this mostly as a recorded track versus a MIDI track. But I think everything sounds good. I just, again, think it's a dynamics issue for me personally. I think maybe it's like your voice never changes, even in the verses or the choruses. So it's just completely one. It's like all at 9, out of 10. And it just stays at 9 the entire time. And I think everything could come down when you create new arrangements. Be sure to bring everything down during the verses, and then or make a place in the middle of this where it kind of stops for a second, and just does some kind of something where our ears can rest for a minute, because that's kind of the way that I am seeing this. What else comments do we have from people? And Bert would be happy to have your thoughts on that as well. Arco says, guitar riff sounds so familiar. Imagining Kiss playing this. Yeah, does sound a little Kiss-ish. Bert says, probably up all the time because I modeled it after our live version. I get it. It's just, you got to remember there's the energy in the room that happens when you're live. So your compositions can be different live than they have to be when they are recorded. When they're recorded, people they don't have the energy of you guys on the stage. So all they have is this recording that's playing at 9 the entire time. And it's probably a little different in the listening experience, not live. So just something to think about. Walt says, yes, a little more dynamics in the whole arrangement would help a lot. Ronan just showed up, says, good morning. Glad you got here. Carry on. We will carry on. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Dynamics, basically. Otherwise, it was a pretty cool song. I think that's one that produced correctly might get you some television or something like that. Again, this is not necessarily a show where we talk about how to make music income with these compositions, but this certainly sounds licensable to me because it's got such a good hook on it. All right, moving on to our next song. This is by JD. And I'm not sure if JD gave me his name, but we'll just go JD. JD, if you are here in the house, let me know. Is that right? I have things out of order. Okay, that's right. All right, JD, this is No Dismay for Gentlemen. Let's read what he wrote. He said, JD said, this is an original composition, so I'm not sure if it's what you're looking for. Dude, you heard me already. If you haven't watched this, the earlier parts of the show, I think of arrangements as just as important as compositions. I think they are compositions. That song we just that we heard, Jingle Bells, earlier, that is no small feat what Marley Music did with that song, with Jingle Bells, which is the most famous Christmas song of all and the most basic Christmas song of all. And yet he created a composition. I don't care what you call it. If you want to call it an arrangement, man, he composed a lot of stuff for that arrangement. So I think we got to look at arrangements just as important. But JD says, this epic hip-hop orchestral hybrid, that's a lot of description, of God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen was created for a 52 Q's holiday track contest. Shout out to Dave. I have since released it in distribution, and it has been selected for 2 Spotify holiday music playlists. I titled it No Dismay for Gentlemen. Cool. I can't wait to listen to this because I also did I did it I think it was part of my Hallowmas last year. It was called, I can't remember what I called it. But I did something similar. All right, let's see what this sounds like and take a listen to No Dismay for Gentlemen. Here we go. Yeah, it's cool. By the way, my one I did last year was called God Rest Ye Scary Gentlemen because it was kind of a Halloween version. But this is very cool and very usable. Now, I think string-wise, I could hear the strings sounded, I think you could use a little bit more realistic on the side of strings. That might just be a matter of changing samples. But the other stuff, the brass, the beat was great. Again, another song that could use some dynamic changes, although unless you're trying to do like the trailer type thing where you kind of, but even that could build. I think there could be a little bit more build. But I love this style. It's exactly the style that I'm doing for a new record of classical music. So I guess hip hop orchestral hybrid is also something that I would be doing in what I'm working on. But man, I'm really happy with this arrangement. And again, this is what I'm talking about, taking a melody and just building a completely different thing around this. I just have a lot of respect for people who take songs and really do, like Rhett says here, a nice transition. Let's see. Arco says, nice hip-hop cue. Crazy says, this gets me up and dancing. Solid track. Ian's agreed. Refreshing rework. I agree with that. Are we at the club? Arco says. Yeah, I am working on some. Oh, sorry. Are we at the club? Marley says. Sorry. Yeah, I am working on some. I call it classical hip hop trap so far, but this is exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about. Taking an orchestral piece and redoing it, or another melody and redoing it in a way where, yes, there is a lot of head bopping going on. And Walt says, love the energy. The melody seems to be sitting a little too far back in the mix. I can get with that. I can get with that comment. Consider letting up on some of the other elements when the melody presents. I agree. And that might help with the dynamics. I think, in songs, is what I try to teach my students, is that there are just a few things that you've got to remember. And dynamics are one of the things that I think we sometimes forget in our haste to make cool, killer, stomping things, is that we sometimes do not pay attention to the soft dynamics as much as the loud dynamics. And so we don't take those breaks. This song could use a few more breaks, like and a build or something like that. I think it could use, again, our ears need a break. Now, this is a short cue, and the difference between this and Bert's song, which was more almost like, let me see, Bert's song was a 3 minute and 20-second song versus this, which is a 1:38 cue. Our ears can probably stay with that because this is used, Bert's is a song, and 3 minutes of that song is probably a lot to stay at the same volume level and same intensity level. 1:38 is probably not bad, but I think you also could maybe add some I don't know, a little bit of good dynamics here. Maybe bring it down a time or two, maybe a few more breaks. Treat it like a trailer where it kind of breaks down and builds back, boom, you know. But I think it's great, and I love the arrangement. All right, any last comments here? Mix Club says, at first I was hoping it was going to go someplace, then it started moving. I was sold. Great track. Yeah, it's good stuff. Very good arrangement, JD. Thank you so much for sending that to us here. All right, let's move on to the next to the last song here. We have Mike Hawk's Gonna Be Santa Claus. Now, unless there is a clause, like there's a reason in the Disney movies, the movie is with Tim Allen is called The Santa Claus with an E, because clause is a something in a contract. Now, maybe you mean got to be Santa Claus like a contract, but I noticed earlier that Arco also said Santa Claus with an E. So just a thought that you may want to keep in. But let's listen. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe I know nothing of what I speak. Let's listen to Mike Hawk's Gotta Be Santa Claus.
I hear footsteps on the rooftop, like boots crushing down the snow. Oh, could it be? Oh, could it be? It's gotta be Santa Claus. I hear a rumble in the chimney, and someone saying, ho, ho, ho. Oh, could it be? Could it be? It's gotta be Santa Claus. Don't wanna get up and scare him away, and have no gifts under the tree. But the suspense is killing me. I won't go back to sleep. No, I won't. I hear the sound of cookie crumbs hitting the floor by the tree. Oh, could it be? Could it be? It's gotta be Santa Claus. Maybe I'm just hearing the wind blowing snow off the trees, or the sound of Santa's laugh. My imagination is tricking me. I hear the footsteps on the rooftop, blackbirds crushing down the snow. Oh, could it be? Could it be? Could it be Santa Claus? It's gotta be Santa Claus.
All right, the obligatory ho, ho, ho at the end. Yeah, good holiday tune, good Christmas tune with Santa Claus in it. Definitely we want to spell that without an E, so make sure you correct that first of all. There's some issues for me on this song, and I'll just try to address them in a very, remember, our goal here is constructive criticism, is not to say, okay, what is bad or what is good, but just where things could be improved, okay? Because I do not want this ever to be a channel where I rant on people if I think there's something wrong with it. But we also should not shy away from saying if something is an issue. And so that's just an important part of this channel, being real, but also being helpful and constructively helpful and critical. Criticism is not bad. Criticism doesn't have to be bad. When you hear that word, you think, oh, I'm being criticized. But when you're getting constructive criticism, that's a different thing. And so first thing first on this song, I like as usual, good guitar. There's a few strange chordal choices on here when we're...
I hear footsteps on the rooftop. I hear... footsteps on the rooftop.
It's a strange intro for this song. It almost seems like the intro's in a different key and then we change keys. Key changes are not, I don't know if you listen to Bobby Osinski's podcast, and you should, but and then somebody just recently, I think it was Tony, who sent me, I saw it on our Discord, somebody put it up, where they talk about key changes over the last 50 years. And in the 70s and 80s, it was very popular. It's not anymore. Since the year 2000, it has almost been at zero, the amount of hits that have had key changes. So I think doing a lot of key changes might be a way to signal that you are writing older type of music and or music that may not be as popular. Now, again, Christmas time. Christmas means we can be a little bit more obtuse or older sounding. Obviously, we're trying to make stuff that sounds like Christmas classics. I'll show you a Christmas classic here in just a minute. I think it's actually got a key change in it. So, but changing the key between sections is not one of my favorite things.
Like boots crushing down the snow. Oh, could it be? Oh, could it be? It's gotta be Santa Claus.
And see, then we end up in G right there, which is a little bit of confusing for me.
I hear a rumble in the
Then you go back to D, and so not that crazy about those chords.
Oh, could it be? Could it be? It's gotta be Santa Claus.
We end up in key of G there.
Don't wanna get up and scare him away.
And this chorus bridgey thing here is fine. I just think the melody, this is where we get from, I talked about dynamics earlier as an important thing. And then we talk about key changes early in this song. The other thing that I talk a lot about, and I was just teaching it this week, is melody. How to write interesting melodies. And I think the other problem I have is the melody seems lower in the chorus bridge that's supposed to be up than the verse. And so it gets lower. And it's a very monotone. It's kind of just like sitting on that note a little bit. I think your melody could be improved. Da 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 da. Something that just sings a little better than straight across. It might have been the singer that you had to keep it in a certain range for, but I think it could be a little better. But we're still in the key of D here, so I'm cool with this part.
Under the tree. The suspense is killing me. I won't go back to sleep. No, I won't.
Right there is a very strange transition. The bass seems stuck or something right there. Very weird.
I hear the sound.
So I have a problem with this song, kind of going back and forth between D and G. I have some issues with the melody as far as what it does, as far as keeping us interested and really taking off in the next
sound
section.
Of Santa's laugh. I'm mad.
There's some word. The other last criticism I'll give you, Michael, is that I think the words, the lyrics themselves are they need to be fit in a little bit better. And now I am not a strict, it has to be 7 beats for every phrase or 6 beats for every phrase or whatever. I just think it has to be phrased better to fit in the things, because sometimes she's saying words that don't sing well in the verse. It almost sounds like they don't fit, but I am of the school that I think any words can fit as long as you phrase them correctly. And you might have to take out a word here or there to make that fit, because it just sounds like words were just thrown in at the last minute and sometimes not sung with any kind of good rhythm. And maybe this is a demo, maybe something like that. But I think that it's a great idea for a song, and it's very sweet, and I love the arrangement. And as usual, your guitar work is great. I'm just not a fan of the key changing. I'm not a fan of some of the melody choices, and those are my basic issue. And then some of the lyrical rhythms, I think, could be just tightened up a little bit. Let's see what other people are saying. I may be completely off here, but that's just some of my thoughts. Let's see what other people are saying here. Who's that singer? Arco says, fun track, says Red at Mixed Club. Sweet, says Crazy In-Laws. Walt says, I really like these lyrics, full of anticipation, and delivery is great. Arco's laughing at the ho ho ho. Michael says that's his daughter singing, so nobody say anything bad about the vocalist. You'll get in trouble. Especially not at Christmas. Come on. There's Andres in the house. Multi-Music Man is in the house. Celebrate her birthday today. Another birthday. Goodness gracious. This is a birthday-rich time for composers. Sorry, I didn't wish you a birthday. Yeah, kind of Disney-esque delivery of this. She sounds like a Disney princess kind of singing this in a Disney song, so very sweet. Arco says, great voice. Let's see. Daniel says, about key changes, Rick Beato published a video some days ago. Very interesting. Daydreams, does your daughter take singing lessons? Do not get me started on singing lessons. Crazy In-Law says, the guitar reminds me of old James Bond movies. Yeah, well, Mike's got that kind of unique guitar sound and has shown us lots of stuff. So those are my thoughts on this. Got to be Santa Claus without an E, if we will. Let's all, and I think you can improve it. And guess what? Again, Christmas comes every year, and so you have the opportunity to continue to hone this. I'm doing that on Christmas songs every year that I have done, and every year this song will be used again. It's so sweet. It's so perfect for the holidays as far as the way it sounds. Could be used in a kid's movie like a Disney, Universal, DreamWorks, that kind of thing. I think that kind of thing would be a great use of a song like this. All right, well, let's move on to our last song of the day. And as usual, it's a song that is of mine. And I'm not sure if I've shown you guys this song before, but it's live on all my non-exclusive libraries, and it's also signed to Crucial Music. And so it actually was up for a television episode of a show that my wife and I watch, and we watched that episode a few nights ago, and we knew it was pitched there because Crucial tells you where they're going to pitch the songs, and we listened through the whole thing, and we didn't hear it. It was beat out by very, very popular Christmas songs, so no doubt the reason why they didn't play it. But this song is called It's Time for Christmas Again, and I just had the idea for this kind of bopping around in my head because I was like, okay, it's time for, it was like 1st of December. I was like, all right, it's time for Christmas again. We need to do some Christmas stuff. And I just started singing in my head, like I do a lot of times with songs with vocals. I just started singing this, it's time for Christmas. And I wanted it to be very boppy and old school. It's time for Christmas again. And so it was purposely old sounding. And yes, even I've made lo-fi versions of it. I just don't like them as well. So let me show you this song called It's Time for Christmas Again. It was orchestrated by my dear friend, dearly departed friend who passed of COVID last year, about a year and 2 months ago. A very heavy, hard loss. Actually, it was late August. So I just still miss my brother. He wasn't my literal brother, who also passed about a year ago, but he was my really good friend and mentor, a bit of a teacher, and just my prime orchestrator. I miss him so much. personally, and I miss him professionally because I don't just have a partner. We were doing a lot of great original work together that is still getting out there, and some stuff that's got signed, but really miss him. But this is his work on the orchestration, not mine. So this is It's Time for Christmas Again.
It's time for Christmas again. It's time for good times and friends. It's time for mistletoe and everything that glows in special things this time of year. It's time for Christmas again. It's time for Yuletides and then we'll sing those Christmas songs we've waited all year long. It's time for Christmas again.
Well, that was It's Time for Christmas Time Again, and I forgot to mention that was my fellow and longtime background singer partner Cheryl and I singing the vocals. And I actually mixed this. Rhett, I just worked with it. It was a hard one because of all the vocals. There's a lot of vocals on this. It doesn't sound like a lot, but we were going for that choir song. Somebody earlier mentioned Perry Como and those kind of old style kind of TV show Christmas songs, and this is definitely down that road. And so hope this one day makes it onto some kind of Christmas special again. It's definitely something that, you know, it's supposed to be kitschy on purpose. You know, it's not, I didn't write it thinking, oh, this is going to be the newest hit. I knew it was going to be used for a kitschy purpose. So I'm hoping that there's some kind of cable show or something where they're trying to be very, they're trying to be, you know, very goofball and stuff like that. So, Signature says, great tune. Thank you so much. Walt says, love the woodwind counter melody. Yeah, I'd love to take credit for that. But as with many things I produce, now a lot of times, like in this particular song, I wrote it, I sang it, and I did the original demo, which he then took and which my friend Brian, who's an orchestrator, took and orchestrated. Then I had Cheryl do her vocals, and then I did mix it all. So there's always a part of stuff that is me, but I am happy to give credit for the beautiful woodwind counter melody to Brian and other people. And so, anyway, Andreas, by the way, says I celebrated my son's birthday instead of his birthday. Well, maybe your son will grow up to be a composer, Andreas. We'll see. All right, everybody, that's about going to be a wrap on today's show. I just want to remind you, if you are thinking about the Hello Composers Mastermind in general, the one where we talk specifically about composing. We're not going to be talking about making income. We're going to be talking about composing. Make sure that you go and start a conversation with me. You can just go right to the new hellocomposers.com site, and you can go to hellocomposers.com/mastermind and look at what is going on there, where I go into detail about what we're going to be doing personally with you on Zoom with 12 weekly sessions. And this one is just about at capacity. So, and I'm offering the special price, cheaper price, the Cyber Week price, which was weeks ago, only until the end of this week, and then we'll go back up to $299. So make sure that you email me if you are interested in the mastermind. Would love to have you. Very excited about getting this going, and also thinking about starting some of the first of the 3 consults, one-on-one consults you'll get with me after Christmas. So if you are part of that mastermind, would love to schedule you after Christmas if you are available, because that's kind of a down week for me before everything starts back in January. And then we actually get the 12-week course started in first week in January. So we'll have more dates for you on that. But if you're interested, go down here. Don't need the Logic GarageBand anymore. I have a special I'm going to put out on this channel about how GarageBand is basically just Logic Lite, and I think if I put everything into GarageBand on this MacBook Air, I could write anywhere with all the Logic instruments. We'll talk more about that, but I'm very impressed. Okay, a few comments left here. Let's see if anybody is saying hats off. Man, it just sounds so natural and nothing forced. Good, thank you so much. Arco says December is a month for composer's birthday, apparently. Mick said, if you see this last question, what happens to my works when I quick kick the bucket? Can I pass it on to my son? I saw you said that. Well, nothing happens. Basically, if all your songs are registered with BMI, they continue to make money, and your checks continue to come to your address. So if you die, your checks still continue to come to your address. They don't just stop because you passed away, and they have no way of knowing you passed away. So your spouse, your children, they're going to be able to deposit those checks in your name. It's part of your estate. And so as far as I know, that's the main place. Make sure BMI, Sound Exchange, MLC, all those places you are registered, so that if stuff gets used, then the stuff will be directed, the money back to you. If you're with DistroKid or CD Baby, whoever you're with as a distributor, make sure those checks are, or that money's going to a bank account that everybody can access and all that kind of. I think about these same things, absolutely. But that's why it's so important to have everything, even stock stuff, everything in your PRO, in your Sound Exchange, in your MLC, all in Content ID, all of those things. So that money always comes back to your account and to your family. Walt says, have a great holiday. Thanks for the great holiday spirit, he says. Hope you have a Merry Christmas and awesome New Year. You are welcome, Walt, everybody, you too. I hope that we might have another one of these next Wednesday. We'll see. It's just going to depend on what my work schedule is, because it changes, because this week is my last week of teaching until the new year. So then I have another different hours at the school. So it might be weird hours, but I think I could probably still manage a live for this channel. It's very possible, though, just so you know, that my videos over the next few weeks on both channels might be edited videos rather than lives, just because of my schedule. So just so you know. Arco, I'm excited for the mastermind too, and excited to have you in it. ISO, thank you for being here today. Walt, thanks for being here today. Andreas, good to see you, my friend. Excited to talk with you as well. Marley Music, good to see you in here. Signature Music. Michael Hawks, thank you so much for the song today. Good to see you. Crazy In-Laws. Bert, great to have you in here, and thank you for letting us review your song. Daniel, good to see Daniel in here today. Who else has been in here? Thanks to everybody who had songs in here today. It's made it a lot of fun, and just appreciate everybody who had songs in here, including JD and Michael Hawks. Thank you all for being here. And I hope if I don't talk to you personally like this, that you have a great Christmas and wherever you are in the world. And thank you again for being part of Hello Composers and watching everything that we do here. I really appreciate your being part of things. And let's see, somebody else has got a comment here. Last comment. Cheers. Have a good one. Jesse also uploaded a video on Christmas songs. Oh, cool. So everybody have a great Christmas if I don't talk to you again live here. And go to makemusicincome.com. Go to either one, Make Music Income or HelloComposers.com Mastermind. Go check out the new HelloComposers.com site. I'm kind of happy with it. It's similar in some ways to the Make Music Income site, but as you know, they are sister channels, sister sites, and so they both kind of work together and they're tied together. And so I hope you will be part of both of those. Bert says, thanks for the good advice. Merry Christmas. Yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody. Unless I talk to you again, have a great Christmas. Remember, wear your Santa hats like me and Beethoven here. And for me, for Beethoven, for little B over there, we wish you a very Merry Christmas. And thanks so much for being part of everything with us here on Hello Composers this year. This is fun getting this going. Continues to grow, and I appreciate that, everybody. All right, we're going to wave goodbye. Everybody say wave. Bye. Merry Christmas. Goodbye. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Gonna press the button. I'm pressing it.